Commission meeting for April 12th will come to order, please. Roll call.
Commissioner Abraham?
Present.
Commissioner Galt?
Present.
Commissioner Rhodes?
Here.
Commissioner Wilson?
Here.
Mayor Kaler?
Present. Tonight, Commissioner Abraham will do our invocation, and our Pledge of Allegiance tonight will be led by Palmer Stroop, and he's a Paducah Tillman Senior. Everyone rise.
Father, which art in heaven, Heavenly Father, we thank you so much for springtime, new beginnings. Father, we pray that the individuals here in this room, if there are any who need to go back and rethink some things in relationships, this is the season of new beginnings. So we pray that that happens. We lift up the city leadership. Help us to focus in on what is right and just and true. Let us always keep in the forefront of our minds that we do not represent ourselves. These things we ask in Yeshua's name. Amen.
Amen. Thank you, Palmer.
Quite welcome. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. City Manager, are there any additions or deletions?
There are none.
Okay. Tonight we have a couple of presentations. Chief Barnhill, you're here to do an introduction of some new police officers.
I am Mayor. Thank you, Commission. Appreciate you all having us. And I realize you got a packed agenda, so we'll make it fairly short. But I did want to introduce two new police officers for the Paducah Police Department. Guys, if you can come on up. They started with us March 31st, so they've been working for a few days. They got sworn in by Judge Clymer the other day. But we didn't have the opportunity, scheduling conflicts and those type things, to bring them in front of you, which we'd like to do. First, I have beside, or over here on the far end, is Zane White. Zane is a graduate of Ballard Memorial High School. Comes to us with 9 years police experience from a couple different agencies here. He has his wife, Ashley, with him, I believe is back here. They are both residents of this area, and we're very excited to have Zane with us on the force now. Second, I have with me Eric Abbott. Eric is a graduate of Hickman County High School, local young man also. He's a member of the United States Army National Guard with how many years? 8 years with the National Guard, and also comes to us with 3 years law enforcement experience, and he has his family in the back also. So, gentlemen, you want to step up here?
Welcome, sir.
Welcome. Welcome. Welcome to Paducah. Appreciate having you here.
Tammy.
So just want to say thank you to these new police officers, Eric and Zane, and wish you a long career with the Paducah Police Department. And thanks to your family as well. The other presentation that we have tonight is the Dogwood Trail Award. Dabney Hall, please come forward. The most beautiful time of the year in Paducah.
Thank you, Mayor Kaler. It certainly is. I think that Paducah is absolutely its prettiest during the Dogwood Trail. And thanks to everyone who took the time and energy to light up. It's just gorgeous. I'd like to start out with a few thank yous. I didn't really prepare a script tonight, but I want to thank Mayor Kaler and Rick Murphy first off, because they made sure that some of our streets were cleared of debris and tree limbs and that sort of thing, and I really appreciated that. Thank you very much. I'd also like to thank, when you start something like Dogwood Trail and you read in the paper, you see a few names and you think, oh, you've got 2 or 3 people. working on this? Well, there are a great many more than the 2 or 3 names you see in the paper. The Parks Department, Mark Thompson, makes sure that we have Les Evans, who lights up the boulevard on Jefferson and the trees at Kyler Park. And Brandy Topper also makes sure our signs are put in the right places. She and Henry Barber work on that. That's a huge job. You've got crews of people doing these sorts of things. I'd also like to thank Mr. Boykin at the PATS Authority, because he makes sure that we are able to provide a trolley ride for people one evening of the week. And I'd also like to thank Jimmy and Johanna, who are 2 of the drivers for PATS. They do a fantastic job. Also, this year, we did something a little different. We used to have block captains years and years ago, so that you would have people in a neighborhood who would go out door to door and ask people to light up for the trail. So you had your neighbors asking you to light up. And, you know, chances are you're going to do a little bit more for your neighbors than you might be for a stranger. So this year, we asked the garden clubs to help us. And I'm happy to say that all 17 of Paducah's garden clubs had people that enlisted to help us with that. And I think it was a wonderful result. We had a lot in spite of the fact that it was spring break and that we had to postpone the trail, we still had a large number of people who lighted their dogwoods, and that was wonderful. I'd also like to thank Roe Morse, who did all of our beautiful dogwood photographs. Paul Grumley was supposed to do the photographs, and he was unable to do it this year, and I think that Roe stepped in and just did a fantastic job. I'd also like to thank our local nurseries who provided us with a dogwood tree sale, and they are Blooms and Gardens, Eads, Edwards, Montgomery Gardens, Sanders, and Walls. And they've done this for the last 6 years. So it's really nice to be able to get a little discount as trees have gotten more expensive. The other person I'd like to thank, or several other people, I'd like to thank my co-chairs, Henry Barber. Henry, are you in the room? Stand up so people can see you. Henry's our tree prognosticator, and this year he made a prediction and then he had to leave town. And then Carol Vanderboe and I had to make the call, and I got a big bump on my face fretting over this. I thought, oh my gosh, I don't want to make the wrong call. But anyway, I think it worked out, and it's a beautiful trail, and Henry thinks we may have as many as 10 more days of blooms. So if you have trees to light up, please keep them lighted while they're blooming. It looks wonderful. I also need to thank the Paducah Sun. The Paducah Sun has covered the Dogwood Trail for 52 years. And they've done a beautiful job, and we so appreciate that. It really helps make the trail happen. I also want to thank WPSD for their coverage and West Kentucky Star. The last person I'm going to thank, or 2 more, excuse me, Paducah School of Art and Design. They have been wonderful at hosting our art and photography contest, and Paul Aho has helped us with that, and that's just been wonderful. In just a minute, I'll introduce Cindy Jones, who's the chair of that. And then let's see, my last thank you. Oh, Marty and Cheryl Bendix. They come to the trolley ride every year as ambassadors, and they stand out. And this year, they stand out and greet people. This year, they had to stand out in the freezing cold and rain. And it was probably the craziest trolley ride we've ever had. But we had 36 people show up, which we didn't think we'd have a soul. So it turned out to be fun. Now I'm going to, let's see, I'll wait for Cindy. I'll go on and have Mayor Kaler come forward, if you will. And we are going to honor all the people who delighted us with their beautiful lighted dogwood displays. And Phyllis Clymer is helping hand out the photographs. If you would, when I call out your name, come up to Mayor Kaler and she'll give you your certificate. Phyllis will give you your photograph. And if you've not already received your dogwood pin made by Carol Vanderboe, then step over here to me and I'll hand you one of these, please. Our first winner, Joan and Lauren Biggers. Our second, Ricky and Lindsay Martin. No, okay. And I don't see the Ebersabel. Susan, oh, there they are. Good, yay. Susan and Steve Ebersabel. And Zach. Okay. Thank you, Zach. Did you get a pen? That's great. Okay, next is Nick and Suzanne Warren. Where's Nick?
Are you kidding?
You've got yours, yeah. I love seeing all the pins. They're so pretty. If you've not had a chance to drive the trail, please do so. Some of these houses are just gorgeous. Our next winner, Melissa and Robin Breeden. I know Melissa's here. There she is. There they come. Good. Thank you. Alan and Carol Bright. Oh, okay, yeah.
Store downtown.
I think so.
I remember that store.
You know, Carol had a good story about her dogwood tree.
Oh, I hadn't heard it.
It was stressed pretty bad in the ice storm, and it has come back just
Oh, it's just magnificent. I think that tells us all, sometimes you think your tree is dying, give it a year or two before you give up on it. Yes.
Mayor, it's 2 generations.
Welcome. Thank you. John M. Park II. Did you get a pen? Okay. Thank you.
And Carol, Sandra reminded me that it's all in the family, 2 generations that won an award.
Oh, that's right. I know. And that was completely by surprise. We have different teams. So different teams were judging different areas. And the Ebersabels and the Brights both won a prize. James L. Anderson. I know James is here because he's already put his dogwood pin on. Oh. Our next winner is Monty and Becky Wellington. I should say winners.
I'm good. I'm good. Hey, man.
Now we're going to go to our off-trail awards. Marcia and Spike Stacy were some of our winners, but they were not able to be here tonight. Our next one, James and Claire Hunt. And they have a beautiful yard that looks like a golf course. Just like his granddaddy's yard. She got one. She's got, yes. Our next winner is Phyllis Leigh Boyd. Phyllis is on the corner of the trail and off trail. Thank you, Phyllis. Now we have our last category we called honorable mention this year just because we had so many pretty trees that we felt like we could not leave them out. But honestly, honorable mention is on a par with all of the winners. They were just beautiful, and so I consider them as much a winner as anybody else. They're award winners. The first couple, James and Leslie Ablett. And they are new to Paducah. we saw them moving in, and we said, "Hey, you've got a lot of dogwoods, light up." And they won an award. And they were excited about the trail, which made it really fun. Our next winner on Pines Road is Michael Blondell. Here he comes. What? Oh, okay, good. Thank you, Michael. Did you get your pen? Okay. Next, we have Jerry and Steve Clark. And Bill and Robbie Griffin were not able to be here tonight, but I understand that the Martins have arrived. So Ricky and Lindsay Martin, would you come forward, please? Wonderful. Thank you so very much. And we're looking forward to next year to be even bigger and better. And as I like to say, and I think you've seen this around town, but when we have Dogwood Trail and people light up, you make Paducah shine. So thank you very much. About to forget, art and photography contest. My apologies. And Cindy has worked, she and her team with Phyllis and Rita have worked very hard at getting this all together. So Cindy, will you please come up and announce all the winners for the art and photography contest?
And Cindy, I told you earlier, but I just want to tell you again, the artwork this year is magnificent.
It's fantastic.
I've never seen so many pieces. It's beautiful.
If you haven't had a chance, if you just stop by the mayor's office on your way out, there is some wonderful photography and fine art this year, probably double the amount we've ever had before. And so the winners are just, it's just been a wonderful experience. And as I call your name, you're not getting a photo, you're just getting cold, hard cash. So we're going to start with fine art. Nancy Calcutt was third place for her pink dogwood. Congratulations. Thank you. Second place was Catherine English for her impressions of spring. I was hoping that was you. Congratulations. Nice to see you. And first place was Frank Bennett from Southern Illinois, but he is not here tonight, and he's so disappointed because he was very excited that he had won. In our photography division, third place was Paul Grumley, who is not here tonight. Second place, Phyllis Russell for Pretty in Pink. And Phyllis is pretty in pink right now. Congratulations. And first place, Basil Droso for Summer Winter, a repeat winner. Congratulations. And I want to reiterate, the Paducah School of Art and Design was fantastic to work with. Randy Simmons came over, and we managed to put all those holes in the wall. So big thanks to the Paducah School of Art and Design. Thank you.
Thank you. Well, I just want to once again thank everyone that entered the art contest and all of the people out there that has worked so hard to keep their yards beautiful, to light their trees, And it really makes this community very special. So thank you so much. Okay, we'll go on to our minutes. Commissioner Abraham.
I move that the reading of the minutes for April 5th.
This is the exciting part. It's the fun part.
That's just cold. That's just... Apparently not.
They're being waived.
See, next time, I'm just going to wait until...
Until I say you may go now.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because
no, that would be.
the boring part of the meeting
Be
started.
popular.
That's hilarious.
It's okay.
You can take it.
I move that the reading of the minutes for the April 5th, 2016 City Commission meeting be waived, and that the minutes of said meetings prepared by the city clerk be approved as written.
Second.
City Clerk.
Commissioner Abraham,
Aye.
Commissioner Galt,
Aye.
Commissioner Rhodes,
Aye.
Commissioner Wilson. Aye. Mayor Kayler.
Aye. Under motions, Commissioner Galt, please.
I move that the following documents be received and filed. Certificate of liability insurance for Mitchell Construction LLC, contracts and agreements, consent of surety company to final payment with environmental abatement for the 432 Broadway demolition project, engagement agreement with Moss and Barnett for legal representation and cable communications franchise renewal process.
Second.
City Clerk.
Commissioner Abraham,
Aye.
Commissioner Galt,
Aye.
Commissioner Rhodes,
Aye.
Commissioner Wilson. Mayor Kayler.
Aye. Under Municipal Orders, Commissioner Rhodes.
Upon the recommendation of the city manager, the Board of Commissioners, and the City of Paducah, order that the personnel changes on the attached list be approved.
Need a second? Second.
Steve.
Good evening, Mayor, Commissioners. Any questions? It's a long, busy list. It's that time of year where we start to ramp up for all the summer jobs that the city has to offer.
Just want to mention that that list includes employee promotion, Chris Yarber, into the newly established position of Assistant Director of Public Works. Again, thank you to the Commission for approving that position. We think will not only narrow the span of control and allow for some better internal workings in the department, but I think it'll also serve to strengthen Public Works and Engineer in several other areas, including project management and so on and so forth. So we're grateful for that. Chris, as you know, has been with the city for 20 years. He was in the Finance Department for 13 and has been in Public Works now for a little over 7. So we welcome Chris into that new position.
Good choice. City Clerk.
Commissioner Abraham,
Aye.
Commissioner Galt,
Aye.
Commissioner Rhodes,
Aye.
Commissioner Wilson. Aye. Mayor Kayler.
Aye. Commissioner Wilson.
I move that a municipal order entitled, "A Municipal Order Adopting a Residential Anti-Displacement and Relocation Assistance Plan and Procurement Code for the 432 Broadway Demolition Project for the Community Development Block Grant Program for the City of Paducah, Kentucky, and authorizes the mayor to execute the plan document," be adopted.
Second.
This is site-specific just for this project. Obviously, we followed all these regulations as we went through the procurement of services. So.
Thank you.
Thank you.
City Clerk.
Commissioner Abraham,
Aye.
Commissioner Galt,
Aye.
Commissioner Rhodes,
Aye.
Commissioner Wilson.
Aye.
Mayor Kayler.
Aye. Commissioner Abraham.
I move that a municipal order entitled, "A Municipal Order Authorizing the Mayor to Execute a Grant Application and All Documents Necessary through the United States Department of Homeland Security for a 2016 Port Security Grant in the amount of $11,008.50 for the Paducah Police Department for the purchase of security cameras, and in the amount of $531,675.60 for the Paducah Fire Department to purchase one fire rescue boat and radiation nuclear detection equipment," be adopted.
Second.
Steve?
Hi, good evening. Mayor Commissioners, the Police Department is expanding its and continuing its camera program, adding 3 cameras to the cameras that they already have along the flood wall for continuation of that project. That's what the first part of that was. And then the Police and Fire Department together are teaming up for the radiation and nuclear detection part of the grant. You heard that there's a boat in there for that for the fire department, but there's also the other half of the grant is for the rad and nuclear detection equipment, and that is a regional grant. We are really mixing things together. It's a regional application for the Port of Paducah. We're teaming up with the City of Cape Girardeau for the rad nuclear part. So they've got a part that they're responsible for, and we have a part that we're responsible for, and we think that improves our chances of receiving the grant funds. What might your questions be?
Tell me how what's happening here in this action and how it works with the Coast Guard and what they do. This
is effectively the Coast Guard's program, their grant program. While the Coast Guard has capability to do that, they support agencies along the ports throughout the country through this grant program to have those responding capabilities. So radiation and nuclear detection equipment. The hazmat team has some that we have in place, but we don't have the equipment that they want basically in place to do this kind of monitoring and checks on the river. So as part of that, we're asking for the boat as well. We have all this capability. We have this large port in Paducah that all this cargo comes through, and based on the risk that the port has is what the application is geared towards. So we get a lot of guidance from the Coast Guard in this grant application. Basically, they tell you what you're going to apply for to some degree if you want the grant monies. And then it's a competitive grant nationally to see which ports get money for their program.
Steve, can you enlighten the Commission if there's any benefit to having this to local commerce in the port in terms of having this equipment or being able to show certain capabilities that this equipment will increase us?
I don't know that I know how to relate it specifically to that. This is about monitoring on the river to keep our area safe, based on the risk that the level of risk that the Coast Guard has assessed against our port. So it increases our capability and makes us more ready to respond to an event should we have it. Of course, we're all hoping that we'll never have an event, but based on the amount of cargo and things that come through our port, we have a certain level of risk, and this increases our capability to be able to handle an event should one occur.
So this is something the Riverport Authority would also take advantage of?
Yes, it would be for all cargo that comes through our area. Yes.
Okay.
And we have an idea of, are there local funds, a match?
Yes, there's a 25% match for the grant in total. As you can see for the cameras, the police department is projecting that 25% cash match in their budget for the next fiscal year. In the second portion of the grant, I have the boat cash match projected in my budget, but the rad nuclear detection equipment cash match is in-kind training over a 3-year period.
Okay.
Both for us and the City of Cape Girardeau.
And we're applying for that. I mean, we have no idea if we're going to get this.
No, we have no idea.
We're just getting our oars in the water.
Right. This what you're authorizing tonight is for us to apply for the grant, and then we'll be back in front of you to discuss receiving the grant should we be awarded.
Okay.
Does that make sense? Mm-hmm. Okay. Any other questions?
No.
All right. Thank you.
Okay. City Clerk?
Commissioner Abraham?
Aye.
Commissioner Galt?
Aye.
Commissioner Rhodes?
Aye.
Commissioner Wilson?
Aye.
Mayor Kaler?
Aye. On to our ordinances adoption. Commissioner Galt?
I move the Board of Commissioners adopt an ordinance entitled, An Ordinance of the City of Paducah approving an agreement with the Kentucky Department for Local Government to obtain a Community Development Block Grant Award for demolition of 432 Broadway, and authorizing the mayor to execute all documents relating to same. This ordinance is summarized as follows. The City of Paducah hereby authorizes the mayor to execute a grant agreement and all documents relating thereto with the Kentucky Department for Local Government for a Community Development Block Grant Award in the amount of $500,000 for the demolition of the property at 432 Broadway. Local matching funds of $125,000 as well as any cost overruns associated with this project will be provided by the city.
Second.
City Clerk?
Commissioner Abraham?
Aye.
Commissioner Galt?
Aye.
Commissioner Rhodes?
Aye.
Commissioner Wilson?
Aye.
Mayor Kayler?
Aye. Commissioner Rhodes?
I move that the Board of Commissioners adopt an ordinance entitled, an ordinance authorizing the mayor to execute a contract for services with the Greater Paducah Economic Development Council for specific services that will include services for Entree Paducah. This ordinance is summarized as follows, that the mayor is hereby authorized to execute a contract with Greater Paducah Economic Development Council in the amount of $250,000 to be paid equal quarterly allocations of $62,500 performance of services as outlined in said contract. Further, this contract will include services for Entree Paducah in the amount of $50,000 to be paid in equally quarterly allocations of $12,500. This contract shall expire June 30th, 2016.
Second.
City Clerk?
Commissioner Abraham?
Aye.
Commissioner Galt?
Aye.
Commissioner Rhodes?
Aye.
Commissioner Wilson?
Aye.
Mayor Kayler?
Aye. Commissioner Rhodes, please. No, sorry. Going to the ordinances introduction. Commissioner Wilson.
I move that the Board of Commissioners introduce an ordinance entitled, an ordinance accepting a grant award from the Firehouse Subs Public Safety Foundation for the Paducah Fire Department to purchase 10-minute carbon 3,000 PSI cylinders, breathing hoses, air cart, and carbon 4,500 PSI cylinders, and authorizes the mayor to execute all documents necessary to receive said grant. This ordinance is summarized as follows, that the City of Paducah hereby accepts a grant award in the amount of $15,125 from Firehouse Subs Public Safety Foundation to purchase safety equipment for the Paducah Fire Department. The mayor is hereby authorized to execute all documents necessary to receive said grant. The award does not require any local matching funds.
Second.
The best kind of grant that has no matching local funds.
No matching funds.
Yeah, this is equipment for our confined space program that we came and asked you to apply for with the firehouse folks a few months ago, and we were successful in that application, and this is just the formal process of accepting that grant.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Commissioner Abraham?
I move that the Board of Commissioners introduce an ordinance entitled, an ordinance authorizing the mayor to execute change order number 1 with Mott Electric LLC for the installation of a generator at the Paducah Police Station. This ordinance is summarized as follows. The mayor is hereby authorized to execute a change order number 1 in the amount of $2,450 with Mott Electric LLC for reconfiguration of the generator that was installed for the Paducah Police Station. This allows the generator to function for both the Paducah Police Annex Building and Police Station. This reconfiguration extends the time of completion to March 12th, 2016.
Second.
Okay. Rick?
Mayor, Commission, I realize we're beyond March 12th. That project is coming to conclusion. But one thing I'd like to explain, at the same time that we were advertising the project for bid on the generator was the same time that we were actually making the purchase on the adjacent building next door. So we looked at the generator and looked at its capacity to see whether or not it could handle the police station main building, the garage out back, and then the annex. And lo and behold, the generator did have capacity for that. So we said, well, we need to go ahead and use this generator to power the entire site of the police station with the annex. So we had components put in it to support that, of which we will complete that project in-house with the renovation of the annex. So a little bit of timeliness there on that, but for those few dollars, we actually have all 3 buildings served with a full-time backup generator.
Very good.
Great. Much, much more economical than buying a separate generator for that building if it was a standalone by itself. So,
Thank you. Any questions for Rick? Okay.
thank you.
City managers report.
Oh, Rick. I'm going to ask Rick to give an update on some project activity and some preparation activity associated with the upcoming quilt show.
Well, first, I would like to thank the Dogwood Committee for their, appreciation in recognizing our staff's efforts with regard to the Dogwood Trail. But there's a whole lot of other things that are going on in preparation for the quilt show. We have a lot of construction activity on our riverfront. The hotel, I've met with the hotel superintendent today to prepare him. They're not necessarily looking to have all that activity going on down there, but I'm like, you're getting ready to have your world rocked a little bit. So I had a discussion with him about their activity and whether or not they would want to suspend their work during that time. We leave that totally up to them. But that we've coordinated with them to have some street work cleaned up and try to improve our appearance, even though it is a construction site. Also, our riverfront construction is ongoing. We've coordinated with them as well. We have a whole lot of other little things around town, updating, getting the dome work and 6th Street work prepared for all the pedestrian traffic, working with the adjacent business there, Midwest Terminal, and those folks too. Some other things, I've heard the cries of everybody with regard to our 2nd Street, our brick, our dip thing. I personally met with all of the property owners adjacent to, let's see, that's 2nd Street West. I met with all the property owners and told them that we were going to begin work at 6 a.m. in the morning. We would repair what work we could get done by 10:30 and reopen the road. And we will continue that for that 16 or 18-foot stretch of the brick there. They're all very cooperative and open for that, and they're looking forward to that. So in the event that you were an early morning riser and were getting your coffee and saw that that road was closed at 6 a.m. in the morning, it will be reopened at 10:30 in the morning. But we're going to fix that dip there. But your staff, your public works staff, your engineering staff, your park staff, we're doing a whole lot of work that is, I know you're aware of, but we're all working together as a team to, I guess, improve our appearance for our guests that will be here next week.
Good job.
The dome's ready to go, right? The dome is all ready?
The dome is ready to go. The city manager and I spoke today. We'll get the street paved tomorrow. They'll be beginning the paving on 6th Street to finish that up. The inside is ready to go. We're looking to sod around. The Parks Department is placing sod in the most visible areas. We don't have the money to sod the entire lot, obviously, but those important areas that are going to make the biggest bang for the buck and the appearance from our curbside. Your Parks Department is taking care of that, and Mark and his crews. So there's a lot of things that are taking place to be prepared for Wednesday of next week.
And you also mentioned the riverfront project. They're back working?
Yes. Yes, you'll see that piles have been driven out in the river. Those are the anchors that will actually anchor the transient dock. So it's starting to take shape out into the water. But yes, those are the piles that will be the guides for the dock as the river floats up and down on that. But yes, there's a lot of work that's taking place there too. They've been very cooperative. They actually moved their construction staging area around so we could, and move back so we could have a bus path for the tour buses to be able to come through and route around all the construction there. So it's an exciting time for our riverfront. There's 3 major construction projects going on at one time. One was our dome that we had successfully got ready right at the wire, but we're ready. So,
Thank you.
Which is no longer our dome.
Right?
That's a good point.
That's right.
Excellent.
The dome.
The dome. The convention center's dome.
Yeah. So, thank you for allowing me to have this time to share that with you. But I know there might be some things that you may drive around and see, but we're going right up to the wire on everything.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank your whole staff.
I will.
That's all I have. Thank you.
So, any commissioners' comments tonight?
I have one. Steve, could you come to the mic and just give me some clarification on our Fountain Avenue incentive for homeowners?
Yes, sir.
As they come, a couple of ways that they could access the forgivable deferred payment loan. One through particular amount of money spent on rehab. The other, if they purchased a house through a private sale. I'm looking at our incentive that we have on our Fountain Avenue neighborhood webpage. And in the second paragraph, it talks about property transferred from urban renewal or acquired through private sale. And it talked about the loan is currently capped at $20,000. A lady that lives in Fountain Avenue approached me a couple of weeks ago, and when she inquired about the 10%, and she had acquired her home through a private sale, that she was told that she wasn't eligible for the 10%, and pretty much, I guess, because she had acquired her home through private sale. So I'm thinking that maybe I'm missing something here on that. Could you give me some clarity?
Certainly, I can't give you clarity about that situation. If you could afford me a little bit of time and get back with you, I certainly would. Typically, the 10 to 15%, how we apply it is, the city, when we transfer properties to a property owner, that 10% for people that do not live in the city, and the 15% is for people that do live in the city.
Okay.
Steve, I think also it's important to note that is only for rehabs or new construction. Isn't that correct?
That's correct, and there has to be a minimum.
So if there's not, if a property is sold privately and it's not reinvested in beyond the sale price, then the incentive is not. It's not eligible for an incentive unless there's a rehab.
There has to be $50,000 worth of investment.
Yeah.
So whether it's acquired through a private sale or not, the what did you say, 50%?
No, you have to spend a minimum of $50,000 on the structure. And if, for instance, if you're a developer and you come and do that, you would get 10%, which is actually a 5-year forgivable loan.
Okay.
Meaning every year we would forgive 20% of that, 100% of the loan. But
So the investment is whether you acquired it through a private sale or not. You have to invest
$50,000 minimum.
$50,000 minimum. Okay, I'm just trying to make sure that what we have on our webpage is not leading folks to believe that that's not the case.
Okay. And I will certainly take a look at that. Absolutely.
Okay. All right, thank you.
You're welcome.
On another note, Steve, thank you and Charlie for the tour that we had earlier. It was nice, and I think the commission enjoyed that. It was
very informative.
Great to see
Pretty
the
day.
success of Fountain Avenue, so we appreciate that.
And beautiful, beautiful homes. It's amazing.
It's nice to see that private reinvestment really starting
Yes.
to take off in Fountain Avenue. So.
And do they ever do like private tours of homes there?
We did one several years ago as part of our fall festival. I don't believe we did one last year, but we're talking about doing one more again this year.
Because I think if people could see some of those homes and what they've done, we'd have a lot more, even more investment there. We have 8 homes left, is that right?
We have 8 homes left, yes. Urban Renewal has 8 homes.
Right.
There's more that needs to be rehabbed, but we actually own 8 more.
When you look at that neighborhood and the money, public, private, that's been reinvested in that $12 million, I remember we all remember what that neighborhood looked like before, and what it looks like now is remarkable. So you guys, it's a great project, and the city's better off for it.
Yeah. And actually, I have that big for you.
Thank you.
On Fountain Avenue.
And a big congratulations, as you pointed out, are to those investors who took the risk early on to make those big financial decisions to rehab and rebuild those houses, because they were on faith.
Those first people that invest, those pioneers, that's the most difficult, but now it's becoming that attractive place for people to reinvest in again, and that's ultimately what we wanted, was to see private investment. People want to live in that neighborhood, and that's happening.
Yep. Good job.
Thank you.
Great job.
Okay, we have an executive session. Who has that?
I do.
Okay.
I move that the board go into closed session for discussion of matters pertaining to the following topic: issues which might lead to the appointment, dismissal, or disciplining of an employee as permitted by KRS 61.8101F.
Second.
City Clerk?
Commissioner Abraham?
Aye.
Commissioner Galt?
Aye.
Aye.
Commissioner Wilson?
Aye.
Mayor Kayler?
Aye. And meeting's adjourned. We will not be coming back.